Hi, and welcome to the BookishStitcher podcast. My name is Jeanette. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as BookishStitcher. We also have a podcast group on Ravelry under the title of BookishStitcher Podcast. And right now in the podcast group, we have some great cals going on. We have a blanket cal, which is running all through winter, and any blanket you're knitting you can enter, and we're not having a FO thread, it's just chatter about it because some of us are working on long-term projects like I am, and I know a lot of people are doing sock blankets, and that's long-term, so it's just chatter thread. And every month on the last day that I record during the winter, and today is the day for November, I will be drawing for a winner from the thread for a set of mini skeins that I got. So I'll be announcing who won later on in the episode today for that. And then we also have a season of giving knit along going on, and anything that you're knitting for anyone else or for charity, you can enter in that, and that does have an FO thread, and we also have a chatter thread for that too. And the prizes for that are a skein of Fiber Nymph Dye Works, the bedazzled in the Here Fishy Fishy colorway. And then the other prize for that is a skein of Cuppy Cake yarns in the Black Sand Beaches, and it's self-striping. And I also was generously donated by Lady Lizetta on our board a skein she has in her shop. I don't know if you guys saw in the enabling thread. She has these little clips that you can lock onto your knitting to help the needles to keep from moving. So she donated one of those, and I'll be showing that next week. And let's see, that's the thing that's going on right now for the season of giving. We also have to get ready for you guys is 2015. It's coming up, I know. We're in the last month of this year. Knit with your 15 oldest skeins of yarn. And it doesn't have to be exact. I don't have time to go through and check everybody's stash. So, whatever your 15 oldest skeins are, and if you look at your 15 oldest skeins and you decide, I don't really want to knit with these anymore, then maybe it's time to find them a new home or destash them. So it's a good way to kind of go through your stash and analyze and use up some of your older stuff. And also what I wanted to do for that was, if you bundle up your 15 oldest skeins and just take a picture and put it in the chatter thread for that, at the end of the month, I'm going to put all the names of everybody who showed a picture of their 15 oldest skeins into a hat. Just write them on a piece of paper, put them in a hat, and then draw one, and that person's going to get a Ravelry download pattern, $7 or less of their choice. And that's what I'm also going to do for the year of 2015, the oldest skeins. Since we're trying to use up the oldest stash, is the prize every month for that knit along is just going to be a pattern for Ravelry. And of course, with all the knit-alongs and prizes and stuff, you have to be a member of the group, please. And it's a great group, and it's growing every day, and it's great to see everybody and get to talk to you guys. So I really love that. So let's talk about this weekend. It was Thanksgiving here in the States, and we, every year, as I talk about, do Meals on Wheels. And this year, I'm going to have to revoke my I Am Not a Crier card because I cried. It was the last house. We delivered a whole bunch. And at the last one, my daughter stayed in the car with my husband, and my son and I went up. And we knocked on the door, and an elderly lady in a wheelchair answered, and her house was immaculate and gorgeous. And, sorry, take a drink. I've been talking a lot this weekend with family get-togethers. My voice is kind of going out. But her house was beautiful, and she was very nicely dressed. And she saw my son, and she started crying. And she was, saying how handsome he was, and saying, God bless you guys, and everything. And I was just so touched and kind of just so sad that that people were having to have the meal on their own. I kind of wanted to invite, I think if we had had handicap wheelchair capabilities on our car, I would have invited her home for Thanksgiving because she just seemed so sweet. And I kind of teared up, and I introduced myself to her, and she introduced herself to me, and we talked a little bit. My son gave her a hug, and I, shook hands with her, and it was just an amazing experience, and it made me really thankful for my family and really feel sad that, not everyone has that. And think about, maybe next year we'll make plans to go in and chat with people more. I know that they encourage that on Meals on Wheels, go in and talk to the people. So that was really great. And there were tons of people out there volunteering to deliver meals, so that was wonderful to see too. And then after that, we came home and had Thanksgiving. And then on Friday morning, we headed out really early to go to Houston to visit with my dad and his wife and my brother. And we all just hung out during the day and had some leftovers, and it was a really great time. And then Saturday morning, since I knew I was going to be in Houston, I had contacted Summer Yarns on Ravelry, and she hosts the audio podcast Kitchen Stitches. And I asked her if she was doing anything Saturday morning, and she said that she was available. So we met and we went out to breakfast together, and then we went to a yarn store in Katy, which is pretty much in Houston, and went and did some yarn shopping, and it was called Yarntopia, and it was a lovely store, and they had a really great selection. They were having a knitting group there, and there were lots of people, so that was fun, and I loved hanging out with Summer. I'm definitely going to tell her every time I'm in town from now on, because she's just delightful, and it was just like talking with an old friend. So that was my weekend, and we're starting to decorate for Christmas right now, and I wanted to show you guys one of our Christmas decorations. I've spoken a lot how I love Russia and Russian culture. And so my mother-in-law gave me this one year. And this is a typical Russian style of, see how there's paint, it's hand painted on the wings. It's just beautiful detail. You see the head crown. And there's the artist information. And I just love these, and I only have a couple, but I like to have different decorations from different things in it around the house this time of year. And as I've mentioned before, I love everything Russian. I even speak some Russian, or as they would say in Russia, "Я чуть-чуть говорю по-русски," which is I speak a little Russian. But I love to read their books from there and everything. So I just wanted to show you that this time today. I might show one thing a week during Christmas time. So that is that ornament. And then I wanted to also just really quickly, before I get into my finished objects, show a couple things from the Knitting in the Mitten retreat. So I talked about my swap things. That's what I wanted to show this time. And I gave stuff to my swap partners, but there was stuff given to me, and there were 3 swaps. The one swap was a washcloth swap, and my partner was Coggy, and it was really cool because I saw her knit these on Instagram, and I thought they were so pretty, and then she gave them to me, so that was great. So this is my washcloth. She also gave me a owl scarf hanger and some little snack goodies, and this is a bar soap, so it's really pretty. It has a gorgeous leaf pattern on it. So that was my swap from Coggy, and my other swap was for a handmade ornament. I don't know if it had to be handmade. But my person for my swap, it says Knitting in the Mitten 2014, she also gave me hand spun. Isn't that gorgeous? And she kindly wrote everything on it. Hand Spun for You by Jen Oss 0524. That's her Ravelry name. Knit in the Mitten 2014 Frost 2-ply Falkland BFL silk. And I am definitely going to be casting something on with this. I think it's gorgeous. And I was just blown away that she would give a stranger for a swap some hand spun. It's so generous of her. She also gave me some little holiday cards and a whole bunch of little other goodies. So that was a really great swap. And also for the other swap that I said, the $25 swap, the person that was coming for the retreat for my swap in didn't end up coming to the retreat, so the Indie Dyers went in and pitched in, and I showed you last week, Wonder Why Girl gave me some soaps from her booth, and then the person who I'm going to be reviewing or not reviewing, but who I highlighting their yarn this week that I bought at the booth, Fiber Addiction, she donated, she took me out and she said, pick a skein of yarn since your swap partner didn't show up, and that can be part of your, so I actually ended up getting really amazing swap stuff. So this skein is called Never Never Land. You can see that. There you go. And her stuff is so beautiful. And so that was my swaps for Knitting in the Mitten. So now on to finished objects this week. I finished the very last pair of Christmas socks for friends, and I am so glad to have these done. These are for my friend Carmen. I finished these on the drive up to Houston because I had a lot of knitting time for that drive. They're just plain socks. I made her shorter cuff because she has longer feet, so I kind of almost ran out of yarn. And this is Knit Picks in the Marsh colorway. So all done, ends have to be sewn in. And then I found a really, really cute way, which I will show you guys when I do it, to wrap these. Kind of a little, and I have to do scrapbooking stuff for it, so it's going to be really cute. And then the next finished object I have, I almost finished this last week. It's the escargot for my mom. The pattern is a free nitty pattern by Veronica Parsons, I believe. And the yarn for this is Alicia Goes Around in the brown. And then the blue is Malabrigo Rios. Isn't that cute? I'll try it on and show you guys. She won't care. Let's see. I think I'm wearing that right. But that's how it looks. And she's seen it because she doesn't care. She likes to know what her presents are. And she kind of asked if she could have some fingerless mitts to go with it, which I will do. But she said not to worry about having them done in time for Christmas because I'm strapped as it is. I was thinking and figuring it out. By the time Christmas comes on the 25th, I will have, in the last 3 months, with the monsters and presents for everybody and like ornament swaps and all that stuff, knit 30 things for other people. So I haven't done a lot, so I kind of need a break. But that is the hat for my mom, and she loves it. So I'm excited. She hasn't tried it on or anything yet. I stopped her at that. I said, no, you want to see it, I know, but you have to wait till later to try it on. So on to my works in progress. Because this week we have the drawing for the blanket knit along, I wanted to knit a square on my blanket. I intended to knit more, but I just didn't get to. So that's one. That's the new one that I knit. And this is Sarah, whose Rain Lover Knits, had brought a whole bunch of mini skeins up to the Knit in the Mitten retreat, and she was selling them for really cheap. I think it was $1 for a mini skein, and so I bought a few. So that's the latest one on my thing. I have a whole bunch more in here that I had intended to knit on there, but it hasn't grabbed me. I want the finished thing for my son, but I'm not constantly wanting to work on it. Maybe, hopefully it will eventually, but at this rate, he's 8, and I hope to have it as a going away to college gift or something like that. So even if it does take a really long time and I don't, start doing a ton of, like, one a day, it doesn't matter because it's a long-term project and I have a long way to go and a long time before it's done. It needs to be done. So let's show, actually, okay. This was in my, this is a really old bag. I think it's Vegan Craftastic. Can you see that? It's a really old bag. It's one of my I think it was my very first bag I ever got. This is in a Tangerine Designs bag. You've seen this, guys, before. If you guys have seen it before if you've been watching the podcast for a while. These are another Christmas gift from my friend Julie. They are the Seamless Saloma slippers, and it's a pattern conjoined effort by Susan, who is Arista1313, and Megan, who has just run it. And it's a free Ravelry download, and they're magical because they do fit. That's a slipper. You wouldn't even know it, and I'm sure everybody, or I'm sure a lot of people have seen these, but you stretch them out. And I tried them on, even though my friend's foot is a little bit larger than mine, so they fit me with room, so they should fit her perfectly. And I have one done, so I still need to do the next one, and then I'll be done. I'm really close to getting done with all my Christmas knitting, except for slippers, which are, they're felted, so that'll be really fast. So I'm really excited about that. Now, you may have noticed in my finished objects that I didn't show a monster this week. That's because I hit a wall. I hit a huge wall. I had cast on for this monster, and it's, oh, and that yarn for that was coffee beans. It's some acrylic I got from a local yarn store. But back to the monster. It's Gort, the Gym Bag Monster by Rebecca Danger. And the yarn is Knit Picks Brava. And like I was saying, I hit a wall. I started this week, and I was telling my husband, oh yeah, I'm doing so well on this. And he said, how many have you done? And I said, I've done 2. He said, how many more do you have? And I told him. And he's like, oh, you're not even halfway done with the monsters. And something in my head just went, I'm not even halfway done. And I couldn't bring myself. So Gort has legs. And these are the colors that the mom said that were his favorite because he wanted a Christmas monster. And I don't know what I'm going to do because I'm going to keep working on it. Maybe I'll try to get myself to do a couple rows a day and just see what happens. My husband said that he would knit on them, but he's knit a scarf in garter stitch. He hasn't, done anything complicated, so I don't know if he could. But it was very sweet of him to offer because he knows how much I don't even want to work on them anymore. I might just do all the limbs because those aren't bothering me, the little parts you attach. Because those are just quick and fast, and I feel like I can get through it. And then maybe just kind of, I don't know, I just need to work on it a little bit every day. Because I hit a wall, and I rebelled. What do you do when you don't want to knit the current project? And so I cast on a new pretty thing. This is some yarn from Fiber Addiction that I showed earlier, who was a swap thing. And this is another, I've showed this bag before, Tangerine Designs. And she actually did something really cool for Black Friday. Instead of, and I love this idea, I thought of buying one of her bags just to support this, but I don't need any more bags. She did, instead of doing sales for Black Friday where her stuff was really cheap, she donated a portion of all her sales to a program that helps get clean water for people in other countries. And I thought that was really amazing because my husband's a civil engineer, and that's something that we plan on doing when we retire, is going to other countries and helping with that because it's very important, and he knows how to do all that kind of stuff with his degree and his work. So anyways, back to what I cast on. This is with that Fiber Addiction M's yarn, and the color is just so happy. I really needed a pretty happy yarn. And for some reason, I'm into pink and orange now, which I have normally a green, blue, purple, but I needed some color. And this is, some people will know this reference, Party On Garth. I am not a big Wayne's World fan. I of course have seen the movie. I think I was a little too young when it came out to watch it, but I saw it a little later in life. But I have a big sister, and so she was into all that cool stuff, so she introduced me to some of it. So the pattern that I am knitting my beautiful yarn in is the Father Time Cowl by Dramatic Knits. And it's a free Ravelry pattern. It just takes you to the blog, which I love because you don't even have to download it. But it's really pretty. It's really easy. So I've just been working on this. And I will just knit till I run out of yarn. And I knew that I wanted something that would break up the highly variegated yarn, and I knew I wanted something by my face because this yarn has a high cashmere content, and so I didn't want it on my feet. I wanted to be able to feel it because it's so squishy. So one more project. I finished those socks that I was showing you, my last socks for my mom friends on the road to Houston. So I had brought a ball of sock yarn in case I finished, which I did. So I cast on my next pair, and these socks, I guess, have a languishing kind of thing because I got this yarn at a de-stash. Somebody brought up some yarn thanks to SSK, and they were de-stashing to get money for the market, I think. And I had never owned any of this yarn, so I got a skein of it from their de-stash. And I actually ran out of knitting at SSK, and so on the plane ride back, I cast on one and I had finished it. So this was done a long, long time ago, I think before I even started the podcast. So it's Friday Studios in the Overlook colorway. And I started the second one on the trip home from Houston. And that's what I have so far. I'm basically ready to start the gusset increases. My husband drove and I knit. And we both drank coffee because we were very tired. So those are all my works in progress. I gotta speed this up. So let's do enabling. I'm still working on spinning, but I didn't work at all on spinning this week. Yeah, so I'm still hoping to work on spinning, but I didn't at all this week. So let's do, this is the last of my yarn enabling from the retreat, and I haven't gotten anything since the retreat, which was, I haven't gotten anything new other than the clubs that I haven't purchased anything new since then, so it's been weeks, but I have this from the retreat. And basically what happened with the retreat, I had gone and I'd only gone to a couple booths and purchased one, at most booths, one thing for myself. I believe there was only one booth where I got two things, and that was for those beautiful sparkly bats from Uniquely Yours that I showed. So I went to Fiber Addiction M's booth, and it was all so pretty. I just was kind of having analysis paralysis, where you can't decide, there are too many choices. So I had purchased the Party on Garth, and then I was done. And I went back upstairs, and everybody was showing off their purchases, and I just kept looking and kept thinking. I was under my budget by a lot what I brought to spend, which wasn't a ton, but like I said, I just gotten one or two things. And so I thought, I need to go back down and look at this, because I think she mostly does a lot of festivals. She has an Etsy, but I don't know how well stocked it is all the time, so I really wanted to go get some more. So I got some of her fiber, which I didn't bring down to show, and I got one of the fibers for you guys as a future giveaway, and I think you guys will really like it. But then I picked up these two skeins, and so it's Fiber Addiction, like I said. This is Shady Lady. It's really vibrant. It's like a green and pinks again. I really wanted some bright colors. And then this one, I'm not going to say the name because I do not want an explicit tag. And it was funny because I didn't even know the reference. It's apparently a reference in a Chili Pepper song that I didn't know, and Emily had to explain it to me, so I don't even think I really remember what it, but now you're super curious about what it is. But if you know the Red Hot Chili Peppers, you probably can have some clue. And it's just really pretty oranges and blues. So that's all the enabling, those two skeins that I got, and that's every yarn thing that I got from Knittin' in the Mitten. So I'm all done with the Knittin' in the Mitten thing. Now on to the giveaways for this week. I don't think I talked about it. This is my little Christmas tumbler, Cindy Lou Who, and I'm drinking at the grocery store today. They had a whole bunch of their holiday coffees out, and this is Cup of Christmas Cheer, I think. And I'm having it with some Bailey's sweet cream, which is really good. So we had two giveaways for this week. Our beautiful Chasing Acorns. This is the one I got for you guys at the market, and it's in the chocolate covered fruit colorway. And the winner of this, I did random number, and there were two, because I don't count for the thing, 2 through 49, and Snow Testine one, she was post number 30, I just wrote it down on a scrap of paper, post number 36, and she said her favorite snack, her favorite healthy snack was hummus and veggies, and I, being a vegetarian, and we were vegans for a while, love hummus, so that's really a favorite of mine as well. And she said that she loves, for an unhealthy snack, chocolate covered potato chips, and I've actually weirdly tried those because Trader Joe's, we just got one in here a little while ago, and they have every curiously weird snack. So I have tried those, and they're very different, but they're good. It's like that salty sweet combination. So Snow Testine, and I got to meet her at Knittin' in the Mitten. She went there contact me and I will mail this out to you. And then we had a drawing for our Fa La La. It has a pattern. These are mermaid knitting, and it's mini skeins for the blanket knit along. And I don't remember what the numbers were. I think it was 1 through 90 or 2 through 90. And the first random number generator, I need to stop chatting so much in that thread. The first random number generator it did was for myself, and I am giving these away. So I drew again, and the winner was post number 31, and it's Cara B, and it was a picture of her showing her sock blanket. So I feel kind of bad because she's, it's going to be overseas shipping, so Cara, I don't think these will get to you in time for Christmas, but I'll send them out as soon as possible. And both those things, I'll send them out as soon as possible. And so hopefully, you know, if they don't get to you in time for Christmas this year, hopefully you don't mind either knitting them after Christmas or saving them for next Christmas. But these are coming to you in Wales. So those are going to be for you. And that is everything except for the book. Let me check and make sure. I hope so. So the book this week, let me take another sip of my Christmas brew, is one that I really enjoyed. The Girl You Left Behind by JoJo Moyes. I think that's how you say it, Moyes. Probably pronouncing it with a Spanish thing. Everything in San Antonio would kind of change it to be, you know, we hear Spanish a lot, so. But this was a book I read for one of my book clubs, and I'll just read the back to you guys really quick. Whatever happened to the girl you left behind? In 1916, French artist Edouard Lever leaves his wife Sophie and goes to fight at the front. When her town falls into German hands, Edouard's portrait of Sophie draws the eyes of the new commandant. And as his obsession deepens, she will risk everything, her family, her reputation, and life, in hopes of seeing Edouard again. Nearly a century later, Sophie's portrait is given to live by her young husband shortly before his sudden death. Its beauty speaks of their short life together, but when the painting's dark and passion-torn history is revealed, the first spark of new love Lev feels is threatened. So, I can actually say that this book was one of those books that you can't put down. I read it, I believe, last year, and it was for book club, and I think at that point I was in kind of a reading slump. I had started several new books, but nothing had drawn me into where I wanted to read it. And this book, I had to order it, and it had come, I think it's been reprinted or something, but I think at the time it wasn't, and I had to order it from like a used bookseller on Amazon, you know, where they have the different ones that you can buy from that aren't actually Amazon. So it took a while to get here because I believe it came from overseas. And it was a used copy, which I'm totally fine with. And got here, and I started reading it, and I just couldn't put it down. I sat in, our living room has this giant kind of, we have a couch, of course, but then a circled chair, and it looks out over the hills in our backyard and stuff like that, and it's very beautiful. And I just sat in the chair and read, and it caught me. And if you love history, it does deal a lot with history, and it has a lot of sadness and a lot of happiness, because it deals, of course, with the First World War, because, you know, 1916, her husband's gone to fight, and it, you know, has a lot of really beautiful stuff in it. And like I said, that's The Girl You Left Behind. So if you like history reads, and you like, it does have, I wouldn't call it a romance read. There's not anything really explicit in it, but it does have, you know, it does have a little bit of stuff between the husband and wives, and it has, let me see, just over 500 pages, so it's pretty long, but like I said, I read it in 5 days. So if you're looking for a good read and just something, her writing style is very good at drawing pictures. Like, you can see what's happening in your mind. And she now has written several other books. So you might have heard of some of her other books, Me Before You, and different ones like that. So that's the book. And that is everything I have for this week. Be sure to go and enter your finished objects that you're knitting for Christmas into the Christmas knit along. Keep entering in the blanket cal. So I have already decided what the next prize for the mini skeins will be, and I'll be ordering those soon, and I will show those on the podcast as soon as I get them. So I'll be chatting up in that thread. And get ready for the 15 oldest skeins. Find yours, and if you want to now post a picture or later, just as long as it's before January 1st, or I think it's December 28th. That's when I'll be drawing for that. I'm gonna do all that the last Sunday that I podcast of the month. So I hope you guys have a great week and that you get to do all the things you love. Okay, bye guys.